Well, the pledges and promises are coming thick and fast. Yes, Liz Truss now promising farmers a blizzard of EU red tape, unlimited access to foreign seasonal workers, and Rishi Sunak coming out overnight as the most radical tax-cutting chancellor since Nigel Lawson way back in the 1980s, up to 4p to come off basic rate tax. Pledge after pledge from both sides. Should we believe them? What always amazes me about politics is every time there is a leadership election for a major party or a general election, people get terribly excited and terribly enthused about all these promises, seemingly having forgotten the previous time they got excited and enthused, which was normally just the election before. Frankly, I find it difficult to believe very much at all of what is promised us by either side. You may say that's because I'm old and cynical. Well, I'd say it's because I'm experienced and I've seen it all before. But I wondered over the weekend, rather than making all these pledges, this government, and we're mid-term in the Parliament, was elected with an 80-seat majority on a 2019 manifesto. What about putting that manifesto in place first before making a whole load of new pledges? So let's have a look at some of the key points from that 2019 manifesto. And let's work out, actually, is it all really happening? So to begin, it was, of course, get Brexit done by the 31st of January 2020. Well, we did legally leave the European Union, but I think anybody sane would argue that the job's only half done. Whether we look at Northern Ireland, whether we look at fisheries, whether we look at the fact that our contributions are rising by a further staggering £10 billion, and do we have control back over our borders with Europe? Well, it doesn't look like it, and certainly Liz Truss doesn't seem to think it even matters very much. Then, of course, we had the big pledge, invest record sums in our NHS with 50,000 more nurses and 40 new hospitals. So how are we getting on with this? Well, yes, record sums are being invested in the NHS. In fact, health spending is now a staggering 12% of our GDP. It's almost beyond comprehension that it's got to that level. As for 50,000 nurses, well, the numbers have increased by 26,000. So you could say we're on track. And yet the number of vacancies hasn't risen, and there are 6.6 million, despite the money we've spent, on the waiting list. It's partly due to the pandemic, but it's also due to our exploding population, which I'll come to in a moment. But how about the promise of 40 new hospitals by 2030? Well, if ever there was a disingenuous pledge made to the British people, it was that, because I've been looking at the Department of Health and Social Security's definition of what a new hospital is, and a new wing of an existing hospital counts as a new hospital. It actually looks like there might be a maximum of 6 new hospitals. As I said at the start, why do we believe anything they ever tell us? Then we had an Australian-style point system for immigration. Well, no. The Australians, sector by sector, work out how many people they need in the economy, what they can cope with. What we've done is to lower the standards for those coming into this country from all over the world, which is why immigration is now running, legal immigration is now running at record levels. Add to that the numbers that have come, in many cases justifiably, from Hong Kong, Afghanistan, and indeed Ukraine. And add to that those crossing the English Channel. And don't think one young man setting foot on the docks in Dover is one person, because if they do qualify for asylum, the rest of their family will be coming too. So they failed on that. Investment in science, education, infrastructure, and action to reach net zero. Well, to be fair to them, on infrastructure, they've continued to build HS2. I think it's a mistake, but they have. And on net zero, well, yes, you're all paying the price of that and beginning to realise what a ruination it is. And finally, without raising taxes of income tax, VAT, or national insurance, they've raised national insurance. I would suggest it might be better, before promising many new things, to complete what this government was elected to do. Why not stick to the 2019 pledges? Give me your thoughts. Farage at gbnews.uk.